Hey, what's happening, guys? Thanks for joining me again today. Today we're going to take a look at this conglomeration of Arduino goodness I've got here. This is the first part of my Arduino heating slash air conditioning slash dehumidifying touchscreen control center. So what we've got going on here, let me zoom in here a little bit so you guys can get a better look of what's happening. Or not. Let me try again. There we go. So here are the parts of the thing. Now I don't have 3 relays on hand, so as a stand-in for the relays, I'm just using some LEDs. We have a green LED for cooling, a red LED for heating, and a yellow LED for the dehumidifier. And for our sensing, we have a DHT 11 sensor. Now these are all connected to an Arduino Mega with a 3.2 inch TFT LCD shield, and the reason I'm using the Mega is because this shield would take up all your pins on an Uno. Now the connections are quite simple here. We have, I forgot which order they go in. Okay, the cooling goes into digital 22, the heating goes into digital 24, the drying goes into digital 26, and the sense for the DHT11 goes into digital 28. Otherwise we have 5 volts coming out here going to the board, and we have our ground connection here going to the board. So it's pretty simple for right now. I've only got it partially activated, which I'll show you here in just a second. But what we've got going on here, you see we have the green LED lit for cooling, then we would have the red LED lit for heating, and the yellow LED lit when the dehumidifier is on. So let me take you through a quick little tour of the code, then we'll come back and I'll show you what I've got so far. Alright, here's a look at the code for my Arduino touchscreen HVAC control. We have 3 libraries: the Adafruit GFX for the graphics, the Adafruit TFT LCD for the shield, and of course DHT. Now these defines are all for setting up the LCD screen. These 2 here are for the DHT. It tells it what pin it's on and what type it is. And then we map the hexadecimal value of the colors to English words. Then we set up the Adafruit TFT LCD using these particular pins here, and we set up the DHT using our DHT pins. Now here I have set the initial values for my variables, and then in void we begin serial comms for debugging. Void here in setup we begin serial comms for debugging. We have TFT reset and the TFT begin with the type of chip. My particular chip is the hex 9341. Yours could be different. Check your documentation. Then we set our 3 output pins, all for output, and we begin the DHT. Let's skip our function here. Now down here in the loop, the only thing it does is read the temperature and the humidity, and then it kicks us back up to the function. So the first thing we do is we set the rotation of the screen. You have 4 choices. We fill the screen. I pick cyan. We set a cursor, set a text color, set a text size. Then I print out the header, Arduino Heating Air Conditioning Control Center, blah blah blah. Now I start drawing some boxes. The first one is the rounded box that goes all the way around the outside of the screen. The command is TFT draw round rect, and this is your X starting position, your Y starting position, your X distance, your Y distance, the ratio of the curve, and the color. Then we draw another box for the temperature to sit in. It starts at X 20, Y 40. It's a 70 by 70 box with an 8 radius in black. Then we do the same thing for the humidity box and the same thing for the status box. Although the status box is a little different, it's 120 by 70. Now these boxes here are for my adjustments, and this is as far as I've gone with this point. So in part 2 there will be more to this. Now we print out our information to the screen, put our cursor 3060, which puts it inside the temperature box, set our color, set our size. We print out the temperature with 0 decimal points, and then we print out the unit we're using. We do the same thing for the humidity. And now we come down here for our status, and this is also where the program logic occurs. So we put the cursor inside the status box, set our colors red, text sizes 2, and we say if the reading of the temperature is less than the heat point, then we want heating to occur, which causes it to switch on the heating relay and switch the other two off. If the heat point, if the temperature is greater than our heat point, that should actually be cool point. Oopsies. Then we print cooling, and we switch on the cooling relay. And if the humidity is greater than our dry point, it prints drying, and it switches off our heating and cooling and turns on our dehumidifying. Now I might change that to allow the other two to stay on, but for right now that's just the way it is. Then down here is where we print out our heat point, our cool point, and our dry point. And that's it. That's the entire thing for right now. Let's go take a look at it, and keep in mind this is only the first run through of it. It needs definitely more work. Alrighties, here's what I have so far. You can see I have the screen done in a nice light blue. We have our temperature here and our humidity, and then as system status. Down here we have our heat point, which is set at 66 degrees, so anything cooler than that will trigger the heat. We have our cool point set for 72 degrees, so anything higher than that will trigger the cooling, which is strange because it's reading 70. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right. So it's higher than that, so it triggers the cooling. And the dry point set for 37, so anything above that will trigger the fan. Now that's as far as I've gotten today, other than drawing these boxes, and these are going to be the setting boxes. I don't know how well you can see the color here, but the colors here, we have red, blue, and black, which match the heat point, the cool point, and the drying point, and they'll each have an up arrow and a down arrow, so these can be adjusted. So that's it for this. Just wanted to give you guys a quick look at this project. It is ongoing. I'm working on it, and as soon as my 3 relays come in, actually it's one board with 4 relays, we'll put this thing together and we'll have a nice suitable system. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please give me the old thumbs up. Feel free to comment, share, and thank you for subscribing.